Hello everyone, Daniel Trains UK here. I hope you all had a brilliant Christmas and a brilliant New Year. It's been quite a while since you've actually seen me in person on my YouTube channel, mainly because of other reasons, work and getting out and about. I haven't had a chance to film much recently, but today's video is going to be basically my review of the last year on the railways. So basically I'm going to be reviewing each month of what I've been doing and has it gone well, has it gone successful, or did it go really bad? So let's tune in and have a look. Let's get started. So I think in general the last year has been pretty well. It's been better than 2020 anyway, because of course most of you know we spent most of like 3 months, or probably 4 actually, because we had 2 lockdowns in lockdown, so I wasn't able to do much last year. Of course, last year, 2020, was the first time that I actually started getting out properly on trains, so like train journeys, day rangers, meeting friends and that. But this year I have had better days out. I've experienced new routes, new trains, new day rangers, and also heritage railways, which I'll come on to a little bit later. So I think 2021 has been quite a good year. I really hope 2022 is a really better one, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't end up in any more lockdowns. Anyway, let's get started with January, February and March. So, January and February, unfortunately, we spent them months in lockdown, so I didn't actually do anything. No train spotting, I didn't even do any local stuff. I did, however, make one essential journey on the trains. I had to go to Stoke-on-Trent for something that I won't be going into detail about because it's a bit private, but I did take one train journey and that was it. I took no train journeys from January or February. March was the same, apart from the end of the month where eventually I was able to get back out just at the end of March. Unfortunately though, I didn't restart Day Rangers until April, but I'll come on to that in a second. So March, it was more getting back onto trains and more getting back to Crewe Heritage Centre as a volunteer. As many of you know, I've probably seen from my Instagram and my social media that I am a volunteer at Crewe Heritage Centre. So I was really happy to get back there because I did actually miss it for the last 3 months, and some interesting movements did happen in them few months that I was absent from the Heritage Centre. So I was glad to get back there and get on with some work. I will come on to later that we were able to reopen, which I'll come on to when I get on to September. But yeah, I was really glad when the lockdown actually ended to get back out, see all my friends, see all my mates, get back out on the trains, and also explore some new day rangers. Right, let's move on to April. So April was a much better month, although a few travel restrictions were still in place. I still got back out, which I was happy with. I did have some good times and some bad times that month. I'm going to go on to the bad times first. I did do 2 West Midlands Day Rangers that month. One was a really good one. Unfortunately, the second one, well, I think it was the first one actually, but I'm saying that the bad one was the second one, was a bit of a failed Day Ranger, and it's a day that I don't want to remember. The reason is that you might have seen on my Instagram, and you've probably seen on Facebook, that I filmed a Class 40 at Tamworth. Now, unfortunately, a freight train went straight through the platform, and they sent the Class 40 on the down fast back to Crewe. Lucky enough though, I made the ethical decision to swap platforms quickly. Although I didn't get a decent video of it, I actually caught the Class 40. Now, some of my friends were not very happy with that. I was a bit upset because I'd also missed a 37 move in the day. About the only thing that was good about that trip was probably a ride on the 68s, the Chiltern Railway ones. That was about it. So unfortunately, that was a bit of a disappointing Day Ranger. But we did eventually recover from it. The charter in general was actually Hoskins' private charter, which I had seen a few days before. I actually saw that at Crewe with Steam. Sherwood Forest pulled it to South Wales. Unfortunately, though, it didn't actually make it because the steam engine failed due to trespassers that caused wheel flats after they had to make an emergency brake application. So I had actually seen the charter train a few days before, but it was nice to see the Class 40, although it was a bit disappointing that I actually got nearly bowled at Tamworth, which it is a bit upsetting when you do get that. On to the good things, however, I finally got my first ride on East Midlands Railway's HSTs. As many of you know, they brought in ex-LNER sets after withdrawing their VP185 sets in December 2020. The reason was that the LNER sets, although didn't meet the current guidelines, were better to operate than the VP185, so I got my first ride. I went from Leeds to Sheffield over the diversion route, because there was engineering works that day, but I did actually enjoy it, and it was a really good trip. I did really enjoy that. It is sad to see him go, but I did have a few more trips on them, which I'll come on to in a minute. But for April, apart from that day ranger in the West Midlands, it was actually quite a good month to get back out, see my mates and that lot, and just get back into the thick of photographing trains and seeing them all. Right, let's move on today. So, on to May. Now, May was a bit of an upsetting month as we said farewell to the EMR HSTs, the XLNER sets, and also the Transport for Wales Pacers, or the final Pacers to operate on Britain's railways. I'm going to start with the HSTs. So the HSTs, I did 2 more trips on them. I did one at the beginning of the month and one about a week before they retired. The one at the beginning of the month, I actually did in first class because the train was actually rammed with people trying to get a final journey on them. The second trip was actually much quieter because it was actually a Monday that I did the trip. I did both trips the same way, so I did London to Nottingham, but I did get a bit more journey on the first trip, as I actually took one to East Midlands Parkway, and then one back to Nottingham, and then back to Leicester to go home again. I did that with some mates of mine, and I also met a few new people along the way. The second journey was with my railway mates that you've probably seen with me before, and that was my final farewell to them. It was upsetting to see them go. Unfortunately, I didn't get 43102 on my final day of riding on them, because apparently it was in the depot. But I did get a ride on it, although it was only for about half an hour. I'd still got a ride on it. But it is nice though that 43102 is now preserved at National Railway Museum Shildon, which I'll come on to in a minute, in the June section. The other thing that was upsetting was the retirement of Pacers on Britain's railways. Now, whether you love them or hate them, to be honest with you, as much as people hated them, I actually quite liked bouncing up and down on them in Manchester. They were supposed to be all withdrawn by 2019. Of course, many of you know that didn't happen. It was gone May 2021 before the final Pacer was actually withdrawn from passenger service. Although I got a few goes on the northern ones when they returned during summer 2020 because of the social distancing. I did actually do a few trips to Cardiff, and I did manage to get loads of Pacers then. Unfortunately, I was going to go on the last day of them, and unfortunately I never got time to get back down to Cardiff to see them off. It was a bit upsetting, but I know some people hate them, some people like them, but it was still another farewell to Britain's railways. As much as people hated them, it was, at the end of the day, it was a train to me, and it was upsetting to see it go. So anyway, some of them have been preserved, so I'm hoping to go and see them at preserved railways in the next couple of months. And hopefully into next year. So it will be nice to see and ride on them on preserved railways, and hopefully some of them have got, or if not all of them, have got futures along the way. So hopefully we might see them, might even see one back out on the main line. We don't know, but for now they have now been permanently withdrawn from Britain's railways. Right, let's get on to June. Now, June was a bit of an exciting month, especially at the start of the month. I did do quite a few things that month. I'm going to start with the beginning of the month. I made my first trip up to County Durham. I visited Bishop Auckland. And I also paid a visit to National Rail Museum Shildon, where I got to see 43102, which has now been preserved there from East Midlands Railway. It is nice to see that has now been preserved. So, yeah, I got to see that. Unfortunately, it is still outside at the moment, so hopefully soon I'll find a space inside, so it's protected from the weather and that. Another thing is, I also got to visit National Rail Museum York the next day after I visited National Rail Museum Shildon. I got to see 43002, which is still on the turntable actually. It's been sat there since it actually arrived. So it was nice to see that. Unfortunately, at the time that I went, half the museum was still closed, mostly because of social distancing and the COVID and that. It has now fully reopened, so I'm hoping to pay a visit there again soon. It was a little bit disappointing because I wanted to go on the balcony to watch the trains. Unfortunately, that was shut this time, but it was still nice to go around the museum with my mates and that. And it was a good couple of days. The weather was lovely. It was really good and that. Also in June was the return of Transport for Wales's WAG service. Many of you will know this as the Loco Hauled service that runs between Holyhead and Cardiff, and also Holyhead and Manchester. Now, unfortunately, the Manchester Holyhead one has not returned and will not return. Well, I've been told it might return next year, and then I've been told it's actually been withdrawn permanently, but I'm not sure what's happening with that one. However, though, the Holyhead to Cardiff one has returned, so I did one trip to Cardiff, unfortunately, after the Pacers retired, so unfortunately I didn't get a Pacer ride that day, and I brought the WAG back to Shrewsbury. I got off at Shrewsbury, and then of course I got a local train back to Telford. What's nice, they are the ex-LNER 91 sets, so to be honest with you, they are still in mint condition, and they are really comfortable actually. At the time, first class wasn't operating, but first class is now in operation on the sets. But I think they're still on a reduced menu at the moment because of the COVID. I'm hoping to do another trip on them soon. I only actually did that one trip. I haven't actually done any more since. So hopefully I'm going to get back out soon on them, and hopefully do some more journeys on them. And now the daytime services have now started. As many of you know, they run 3 services a day, backwards and forwards between Holyhead and Cardiff. So hopefully I'm going to try and get a daytime service very soon. And also, June was the first time that I visited the place called Buxton, which is just outside of Manchester. There is a picture of me, which I'll show at the end, of me standing next to a statue that has been made of old railway equipment. I thought that was quite nice, actually. It was a nice little town, and there also was a load of Northern 150s there. Of course, they store Northern 150s during the day, which I think it's better, so if something did break down, at least they've got a 150 to go and rescue it. It was a nice little trip that day. It was part of the Cheshire Day Ranger, and it was actually my last section of the Cheshire Day Ranger to actually tick off, because Buxton line was actually only once every hour, and as soon as you pulled into Buxton, the train actually sat there for 50 minutes, so you have to find something for 50 minutes to do. So, unfortunately, it is still hourly at the moment, but I will pay a visit there again, hopefully when the timetable actually goes back up again to pre-COVID levels. I don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully I will visit Buxton soon. Right, let's get on to July. So now on to July. Now July was quite an exciting month actually. July was actually my first time that I visited the East Lancs Railway. I paid 2 visits there actually within 2 days for the diesel gala. I went up on the Friday. I was only supposed to have 1 day there, but because I enjoyed it so much, I decided to have a 2nd day there. It was a really, really good gala, and I really enjoyed it. All the trains were brilliant, and the staff were really nice, and they did put on a really good show, even though they were trying to recover from the COVID, which every railway is trying to recover at the moment, which is really good. So at least they're getting passengers back. Rail enthusiasts are going back, especially for the Hellfire moments and all the lovely diesel locos. So yeah, it was a really good gala. I did 2 days. It was a 3-day event, but I only did 2 days. So I did the second day and the third day. So it was a really good event. And I will go again in future, hopefully. Also, in July was the Branch Lines Association's 37th, well, not 37th tour, it was really a massive tour that went into some rare places. I did see it at Crewe with 37s, and also 90 on it, the economy one, which I'll show a picture at the end. Was nice to see that as well. I saw that. Well, of course, I saw that at Crewe. I saw it arriving first into platform 12, and then eventually it was dragged back into platform 6, and then went back out to Manchester. So it was nice to see that. I was planning to go and see that. I can't remember if it was Rose Hill Marple or the Dinting line, which is Hatfield Glossop. Unfortunately, I couldn't get up there that day, so I just saw it at Crewe, which it was nice to see that, and I did get some Hellfire from it. So it was a really good. It was a really good charter to see. Also, I paid my first visit to Lancaster railway station to see a charter train come through, which I'll put a video at the end. And it was, I forgot the name of it now. It was, I forgot what charter it was now. But yeah, I did see a charter come through Lancaster station on the Downfast. It was hauled by a Class 90, it was an LSL one when it arrived at Crewe, and then eventually it was swapped for steam at Crewe, and then eventually I saw it go straight through Lancaster. So it was nice to see that, and also I did get out on a few more local day ranges, and of course July is my birthday month. Unfortunately, I didn't do anything for my birthday this year, railway related, because I stayed at home and I saw family and that. But I did do some more day ranges, some local ones, saw my mates and that, had a good laugh and that. So yeah, that's July for you. Let's move on to August. So on to August. Now, unfortunately, the start of the month didn't go according to plan. I did a trip up to Llandudno to see a Class 20 tour, which was vintage trains. Of course, many of you probably would have remembered, the tour got 6 minutes up the track from Tyseley Loco Works, and it failed. Unfortunately, the tour was cancelled in Birmingham, and I'd already made it up to Wales, so unfortunately I was a bit disappointed and a bit upset that it was cancelled. So unfortunately, you might have felt it was a bit of a waste of time going up there. Personally, in my opinion, it wasn't, because I did eventually tick off the Blaenau Festiniog line, and I also got to have a look around Llandudno for a bit. So, although it was a bit of a failed trip and I was a bit upset that the charter was cancelled, I did have a nice afternoon out in Wales, and I did come back via Crewe and that. It was a bit upsetting, but there you go. If the loco failed, it wasn't Vintage Trains' fault. I know Vintage Trains had a couple of rocky starts back to charters after the lockdown. Of course, many of you probably would have heard of the one at Nuneaton, and then of course the Class 20 that failed. So it was a bit upsetting, and I felt a bit upset for Vintage Trains that were trying to do everything they could for passengers and that. So it was a little bit upsetting. But at the end of the day, of course, safety comes first with the railways. So yeah. So hopefully that trip will be reorganised next year. I'm hoping to go back to Llandudno for a day anyway, more a day away from the railways, just more because I want to visit the local area and explore a few places around Llandudno. So hopefully it will get reorganised for next year. And I also did a local visit to my local railway, which is Telford Steam Railway. They had a 37 event on there. I went with a few mates of mine. that was a good couple of hours out in between work and that the weekends when I was off. I only did a round trip on the train. I would have stayed all day, but unfortunately I had a few things to do that day. So it was nice to get back out on the Telford Steam Railway. I haven't actually been for absolutely ages. More or less because of the COVID, and I haven't had a chance to get down there. So it was nice to get back down there, support them and that, and also get a ride behind the 37. I'll show you a picture at the end of this of what of the 37 and that, but it was a really good event. The Rail Riders and Telford Steam Railway did a really good day out with that, so well done to them lot for that. Right, let's move on. On to September. Now, September was also another exciting month. After nearly 18 to 20 months of closure because of the COVID, Crewe Heritage Centre finally reopened, and I was glad to return as a volunteer. Welcome all the customers back. A lot of people were actually happy to come down and have a look around the Heritage Centre. I was pleased to be back as a volunteer, see all the happy faces and that. We have had a couple of events through September. We had an auction open day, we had a train, model train day and that, so we did get quite a few people through the door for that. We've had a couple of car shows, which I'll come on to in a bit. So it was nice to get back down there, see all the rail enthusiasts, see all the customers that have come to visit us, so it was really good to get back down there. Also, September was the second East Lancs Railway Gala that I visited. This was the Autumn Diesel Gala, and that was absolutely hellfire. I absolutely enjoyed that day, I did. It was absolutely brilliant. They had a Class 40, Class 37 from LSL, and I enjoyed it. I deem that as one of the best East Lancs Railway Gala we've ever done. Everyone enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I didn't stay for the BRX in the evening because I had to get back to Telford. But it was an extremely early start. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. My train was at 5:43, so I was gone by then. I did really enjoy that day. It was a bit of a late finish, but in the end, it was worth it. I enjoyed it. So that's all I can say, really. I had a really good day out with my mates, saw loads of new people and that. So, yeah, hellfire it was. Right, let's get on to October. So, October was a pretty quiet month for me, for trains. I did see Stoneblower at Wellington, Stoneblower 80201, which had been put there. I was supposed to go to Cosford. Unfortunately, though, the sidings there were occupied, so it was nice to see that in the station. Bit of a different thing for Wellington Station, especially in Platform 3, that's hardly ever used for passenger trains. However, though, it was interesting near the end of the month when I saw the Northern Bell in the station. With the 86 on the front of it, 86401, which is still in Caledonian Sleeper livery. Many of you know that's been out of the picture for quite a while now. It has now returned and is owned by West Coast Railways, but it's still in Caledonian Sleeper branding. I haven't heard of any plans whether they will repaint it or not, but for now it is to stay in Caledonian Sleeper livery, and it has been hauling the Northern Bell quite a few times now. Up and down the West Coast main line. It mostly hauls it from like Crewe to Preston up to Carnforth, and then will come off and then add steam on. The first time it did it, it only did the one way, so when it come back in the evening, it only actually went up in the morning, and then when it come back in the evening, unfortunately it was a 57 on the front. When it did it a second time, however, it actually got put on twice, so it went up as the 86, and when it come back to Crewe, it came back as the 86. So it was really nice to see that, and it's the first time I've actually seen 86401 in person. Also, that day was my day out to London on London North Western Railway. I used London North Western Railway only, no Avanti trains, for the whole day. It was a really good day, although I did get a bit of laughter because some people were like, why did you go to London for 10 minutes? And I just had to laugh my head off. I don't know why we went to London for 10 minutes. It was mostly because I couldn't be asked to get off the train. So I just went all the way to London and then come back to Watford again because my train doesn't actually stop at Watford. So it was actually easy to go back to go to Euston and then come back on myself. I did visit a few locations: Watford Junction, Leighton Buzzard, Northampton, London Euston, Milton Keynes Central. So it was a really good day. I did see Avanti trains that day, but I didn't actually travel on any. It was an LNW day only, so London North Western Railway only, no Avanti trains. We did see them, but of course we didn't travel on them. So that was quite an exciting month. Apart from that, I didn't really do much in October. I stayed at home and I went out with my workmates and my railway mates, and mostly stayed at home with my family and also working. So anyway, let's get on to November, and this is an exciting... On to November. Now, November was a pretty exciting month for me, as it was my big holiday down to Cornwall. I spent I spent 4 days down in Cornwall. I went down on the sleeper. I went on Great Western Railway's Night Riviera from London Paddington to Penzance. I spent a couple of days in Penzance. I visited Plymouth, St Earth, St Ives, and all them kind of places down there. Got to experience GWR a little bit better, because I don't usually travel with GWR. Pardon me. So it was a really good holiday. I really enjoyed it. I will go again. I did the sleeper there and back. The sleeper was absolutely brilliant. Really comfortable. I literally could not get out of bed the one morning. I just didn't want to get out. I just wanted to stay in bed. So well, it was a really good holiday. I got to experience 800s, 150s, a couple of Castle HST sets, that was interesting, and also a couple of cross-country HSTs which I saw at Plymouth. I did have a little bit of an issue when I was going to go to Gunners Lake on the first day that I was there. Unfortunately, the Gunners Lake train was cancelled, so I had to delay Gunners Lake by a couple of days. I did eventually get down there, and it was quite a nice line. If I ever go down there again, I'm planning to do 7 days next time. So go down on the sleeper on the Monday night and then come back on the Sunday night. So I have probably nearly a full week down there to explore. So I didn't really get to explore everywhere. I did explore some of the major lines, but there are a few branch lines that I never got to explore. So hopefully I should go back down there soon in the new year. I'm hoping to go back in February, March time. Book a week off work, go down, book the sleeper, go down, have a couple of nights down there, explore the local areas, and then come back again. I also did a visit to London. I had a day on the London Underground, brought a day ranger, zones 1 to 9, and I explored the London Underground for the day. Did meet with a few mates down there, went to Wetherspoons for something to eat because I was starving. And then eventually I come back with Avanti West Coast when I got to trial the Standard Premium. Although some people think it's not very good. I have said that it's not very good, but actually if you're on a long journey like, well, I don't know, London to Wolverhampton, which is what I was on, I think it's actually good value for money. You're guaranteed a seat, you're guaranteed a plug socket, and you're also guaranteed a table as well. So I really did enjoy the Standard Premium, although I had to pay for my refreshments, which I only got a cup of tea that day because the coffee machine wasn't working on my train. But it was really good to trial it, and I think I will use it again, especially if I'm on a Wolverhampton to Glasgow service, for an example. Yeah, I'll definitely pay 30 quid for that, because that is really good value. So, November, apart from a holiday to Cornwall, probably, I think I did 1 day ranger with some mates. I really didn't do much, because I was away with work and that, and other things, so it was a bit of a disappointing end to the month. But hey, I still got out to Cornwall and I actually enjoyed it. So hopefully back to Cornwall next year. Right, we're now on to the final month, December. Now, unfortunately, I haven't really done much for December. I did a couple of day rangers, and I have seen a couple of charters come through Telford, and I saw one, I think I saw one at Crewe, I can't remember which one it was. And I've done a couple of day rangers. I did one West Midlands with a mate of mine. And I also had a night away in Manchester. Did some late night trains around there, trains at like midnight and that. So that was a bit of a different experience. Unfortunately, no, I haven't done much for December, so it is a bit of a disappointing month. especially coming up towards Christmas. I did try and do a few festive journeys. I had to cancel a couple because of work and a few other things. But I still got back out. I saw all my mates and I really enjoyed it and that. So, although I only did a few, it was Christmas. I did actually make one journey to Birmingham to do my Christmas shopping. Of course, I went on the train. I took Avanti in the morning because I went on the Saturday morning. I took Avanti's London Euston service from Telford, and then I come back on Transport for Wales. Come back on a 150 that day, with a bit of an interesting movement. Bit of more of Canton bingo, I think, of what they like to know it at Wolverhampton. Canton bingo, when you get a dog box, a 150 or a 158 or even a 175 down there. So it was interesting to see that in Birmingham. But yeah, apart from that, not really much for December. But yeah, I still saw some mates and I still had a night away on the train, so I still got out a few places, but not much. So hopefully, have a look at some more journeys in the next few. So a review of this year. I feel like this year, of course, has been much better than last year. Looking forward into 2022. Of course, I mentioned in the November section of the review that I was going to look at another holiday. I am going to look at another holiday to Penzance again. I'm also looking at Scotland. Now, I will say this one thing, when I booked the Penzance holiday, I did actually look at doing Scotland as well. Unfortunately, I didn't do it for two reasons. One, Caledonia Sleeper was on strike at the time, and two was because of the COP26 summit in Glasgow. I didn't really want to be there at the same time, so that's why I picked Cornwall instead. It was still a good experience, so hopefully next time I'll either do Scotland or even do Cornwall again, and I might do Scotland in the summer when it's a bit more warmer up there. Day Rangers, I'm hoping to do new ones, so I'm hoping to get back down to Cardiff again and do some, get more into the valleys. There's a couple of lines that I didn't do. I didn't do the Ebervelli, I can't even pronounce it. Anyway, I didn't do that main line. I think you all know what I'm about to say anyway. I didn't do that line, and I didn't do anything past Bridgend. So down to Fenethling down there. So hopefully, I'm hoping to get back down there at some point in the next few months, and that in 2022. Crewe Heritage Centre, hopefully we should reopen in March, so hopefully a bit more volunteering this year. A few more events, the car shows, the toy train collectors fairs and that, so I'm looking forward to them. Hopefully this year, I'm hoping the Wheels of War event will go ahead this year, which is one of my favourite events, so hopefully that will go ahead this year, fingers crossed. Open days and wise, of course, many of you know are hoping that the DRS one will go ahead this year. Of course, many of you know the last 2 years it's been cancelled. So hopefully we're hoping, fingers crossed, this year it will go ahead. It'll probably be Crewe, as they have said that they will run it at Crewe when they can. So this year should have actually been Carlisle, but instead of, well, they might run it at Crewe, but I don't know about that. We're just going to have to wait and see what DRS says on an update for that. Hopefully they'll go ahead with the event this year. If they do, I will be down there. Hopefully book the day off work and get down there to see DRS. Apart from that, my year on the rails has been quite a really good one, so I look forward to 2022. More exciting journeys, more exciting trains. There's new rolling stock coming. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it'd be nice to see it out. More interesting moves, more charter trains on the way, and hopefully a few more videos from me. So that is about it for me for this video. I hope you enjoy a couple of pictures that I'm going to put at the end here of the last year of what I've been up to. A couple of videos and that. So, thank you for watching. Please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. And I'll see you in 2022. See ya!